Welcome to Cox Connections, a link between you, our customers, and what's happening in the community we share. I'm Kim Stanley, Vice President of Operations for Cox Roanoke. Center in the Square has begun its $27 million renovation project that will reinvent the downtown Roanoke attraction. State-of-the-art features such as aquariums, a butterfly habitat, and a rooftop green energy garden are a few of the highlights. Here to tell us more is Center in the Square President and General Manager, Dr. Jim Sears. Jim, good to see you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Well, lots going on at Center in the Square.
A lot is going on. You know, we're moving out of the McGuire building now, which is most people think of as Center in the Square. Mm-hmm. We have several buildings, but most people will think of the McGuire building as Center. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot going on right now, trying to move out and go to temporary locations.
When did all this start, the renovations?
We started what we call the Center on Church building, which is the building that has the black box theater and some office areas in it. And faces Church Avenue. We started that in October of 2010, and we're about ready to wind that project up. And that's a significant project for us because it completely renovates that building and allows us to move offices and non-essential areas into that building so we can create more public space in the McGuire building.
Okay. And so the renovation started in October. What's the timetable and kind of lay out what the new Center in the Square is going to look like?
Well, I was talking to my construction manager this morning and I said, you know, we really have to finish this by October, November 2012.
Okay.
So, you know, in construction projects you have delays. Equipment sometimes is delayed, but all of that has to be made up in terms of time. So November the 1st, 2012 should be the completion date of the entire project, which is a $28.5 million project.
Wow, so about a 2-year project?
About a 2-year, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So that's great. And so what, you know, we talked about in the opening, aquariums, habitat. I mean, just speak a little bit about all the exciting things that's
we wanted to bring some new exciting things to Roanoke. And of course, every museum within Center and the theater, they'll have new shows and programs for the theater, and each museum will have new exhibits. But sort of surrounding all of that, I wanted to bring in something that the area has not had exposure to before. For example, fish aquariums. We'll have the largest live coral fish aquarium within the mid-Atlantic region. And the reason that's important is that live coral changes every day, provides much more vibrant color, and increases the ability of fish to live in a confined environment like we have. So I think people will love that. And then there are 3 smaller aquariums that will have jellyfish and seahorses. All these things are just fascinating. The large aquarium will have 250 fish, and of course saltwater, you know, mentioned live coral. So I think when people walk into Center, they'll be fascinated with the live coral aquariums and the smaller, and as well as a lot of electronics in the atrium. So now when you walk into the atrium after the renovation is finished, you'll be able to engage something immediately. If you look at it now, you walk in, there's a reception desk, and you walk 30, 40 feet and you talk to a security officer and you go to a museum. But in the future, when you walk in, you'll be engaged immediately. And of course, the rooftop is something that I felt that any organization like Center, that's an educational organization and a cultural organization, should have a green roof. We should tie into the future and perhaps set an example for the future in Roanoke. So a green roof is something that we'll use for educational purposes and be able to show the public that it increases energy savings and our cost of operations will go down. Well, in addition to that, we have a butterfly habitat that I think everyone will love, as well as a rooftop restaurant. So those are just some of the things that we're planning.
That's great. And then currently the museums are in there, or they were. So where are they going, and are they coming back?
Yeah, yes, I hope they're coming back and they'll find their new location more appealing. The Science Museum has moved to Tanglewood Mall.
Okay.
And they've taken just a few of their exhibits with them. Of course, it is not as many exhibits. There are not as many exhibits as what you have at Center in the Square, but it's certainly a very viable, active area at Tanglewood Mall. The History Museum has moved to the Shenandoah Hotel, which is a Center in the Square owned building, about 1 block from Center, faces Campbell Avenue, is on the corner of Campbell and Williamson Road. So they've moved to the 7,000 square feet on the ground floor. Okay. Of course, they are taking just a portion of their exhibits. Mill Mountain Theater is continuing to operate within our building until August 1st, and then they'll relocate to the Atelier, which is part of the Shenandoah Hotel. And performances will be at the Center on Church building when we finish that in October.
Okay, great. Well, so everybody's still up and running and can still be visited.
They can. Organizations that are offices like Center and Arts Council and Opera, they're moving to the Wachovia Tower for 3 to 4 months, and then they'll move to Center on Church.
Okay. And then this has got to have a positive economic impact on Roanoke. I mean, you're using, I believe, a local construction company,
Yes.
So you're using local resources, but just speak a little bit about just the impact to Roanoke by doing all of this.
Well, by doing this, we retain the flavor of advanced arts and culture for the region, which helps attract professional workers and helps retain workers that we have in town already. Most every parent wants their child exposed to education, up-to-date education, exciting education, hands-on education, and that's what Center Square provides. So we provide this environment that improves the quality of life. Now, specifically with this project, we're creating 200 new jobs. During the duration of the project, a lot of people working now that may not have been working without this project. After the project is completed, we're projecting somewhere around 100, 125 additional jobs created because of the project.
That's great. So a real positive impact on the Roanoke community as well as the surrounding community.
Right.
Just a lot of great things going on and a lot of exciting things for Center down the road. I mean, it's just very exciting.
Well, we have to position ourselves for the next 20 years.
Right.
I don't want to say 25 because we may have waited too long with this renovation, but money is tight, as you know, and with government funding dropping off, and we have to do what we do as well as the other arts organizations in the valley. They have to do what they do with what they can raise locally. And so with the loss of state funding that we had several years back, the project had to be delayed, I think, beyond the normal life of a building that serves 10 million people. We serve 10 million people in our 20-year history, and of course we've been keeping the count, but so we're up probably to 11.5 million right now that we've served.
So real quick, how can people, get in touch with Center in the Square and help? I mean, money is tight for all of our nonprofit organizations. So how can
Well, we're always looking for operating money and capital campaigns, so they can call me at 342-5701. They can write Center in the Square at 1 Market Square, Roanoke, Virginia. They can send a donation by mail. Of course, they can contact Julie Goodman or me at Center by telephone or by email.
Great.
And we'll be right there.
Absolutely, I bet. Well, thank you so much, and thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Coming up, your child is sick and you cannot take the day off from work. What do you do? Greenville School in Roanoke has the answer. That story after the break.